This morning, Democrat Dean Phillips set to hold events in New Hampshire for his long-shot campaign to challenge President Biden. Not just Republicans, Democrats as well. Remember, Democrats in the state hold their primary next Tuesday. But President Biden doesn't appear to be worried. He has no plans to travel to the state and is actually going to North Carolina today to talk about his economic plans. And perhaps more importantly, Biden is still polling far ahead of Phillips and other challengers, despite not even being on the ballot in New Hampshire. Nearly 70% of Democratic voters say they'll write his name in. That's according to the latest CNN poll. Now, Biden didn't file in the state because the Democratic National Committee, at Biden's behest, changed the rules to put South Carolina and its primary first. Joining us now is 2020 presidential candidate Andrew Yang. He's supporting Dean Phillips. We'll be hitting the campaign trail with him in New Hampshire today. I appreciate your time, Andrew. It's always great to see you. You said earlier this week in an interview that it's a matter of whether Dean Phillips can get big enough, fast enough to really kind of have an impact on this race. What creates the big enough and fast enough, and is it possible before the primary?
There's really one factor, Phil, and it's if people hear about Dean Phillips on the ground here in New Hampshire. We have a poll that was released yesterday that said that Dean's at 28% in New Hampshire with about 50% name ID. When people find out that there's a 54-year-old three-term member of Congress running against Joe, they get excited. So the question is whether New Hampshire voters will tune in. I think they will, and I think Dean's going to put up a surprisingly big number on Tuesday.
What is surprisingly big for you? Like, what's the threshold here that you think he needs to hit to really have a chance to move this forward?
I was talking to our CNN colleague, S.E. Cupp, and she set the threshold at 30%. She said, look, if he gets above 30%, that is undeniable. I think he's going to either come close to that number or maybe even push past it. But even my driver on the way to the office today said there's another Democrat running who's not Joe Biden. And what he said is what we're all thinking, which is Joe Biden is a good man, has been a fine president, but he should step aside for the next generation, particularly because polls show the president losing to Donald Trump by 8 points in Georgia, 8 points in Michigan, 9 points in North Carolina. I think that's why he's heading to North Carolina, Phil, because his numbers are crumbling across the board in the swing states.
You know, to that point, if you look at the particularly Democratic electorate, but also the electorate that gave Joe Biden the victory in Georgia in 2020, it makes him competitive, makes Democrats competitive in North Carolina. The cornerstone of that electorate is African-American. It is a black electorate. That's what wins in Georgia. That's what gives Democrats, particularly in urban areas, a chance in North Carolina. Why is Dean Phillips, a white guy from Minnesota who doesn't talk a ton about these issues, why is he somebody who can do better than Biden in those states?
If you look nationally at Biden's approval rating, it's been declining in all groups. As one example, he's losing to Trump among Latinos, which is a traditionally Democratic constituency. And the same polls that show Joe Biden losing to Donald Trump show a generic Democrat winning over Trump by 6, 7, 8 points. And if you think about it, Bill, it's common sense that if you had a fresh 54-year-old non-polarizing figure, all of a sudden most Americans would say, hey, I prefer that over Trump. You know what I mean? I mean, if that's the matchup. Unfortunately, Joe Biden right now has a lot of baggage associated with him from his age, from inflation, and from the fact that many people look back fondly on the Trump economy, rightly or wrongly.
I wanted to ask you, on Saturday, hedge fund investor Bill Ackman endorsed Phillips, said he'd be sending $1 million. You talk about name ID, that's pretty critical to a super PAC supporting his campaign. Ackman obviously very critical of DEI. On Tuesday, he said he expected Phillips to remove the reference to DEI from his campaign site. A reference was later removed, replaced by another framing. Phillips was asked about this by our Brianna Keilar yesterday. This is what he said.
I believe in diversity. I believe in equity. I believe in inclusion. But what has inclusion done for the black community in this country? What have both parties done to close the racial wealth gap? I want to take it a step further. I made that change to restorative justice. If a donor came to me and told me to do something, I will tell the donor to go pound sand.
The idea that he made the change and just happened to correspond with Bill Ackman saying what he said and asking what he asked on Twitter after giving $1 million donation, you understand why people might be a little skeptical of that?
If you spend time with Dean, you understand he cares very, very deeply about these issues. It's why he's proposed and signed the Medicare for All bill, which, by the way, would help families of color disproportionately. He's for a baby bond of $1,000 for every American child, which, again, would help communities of color disproportionately. Dean is about solving these problems for real, in real life, for American families. The enhanced child tax credit, lift millions of kids out of poverty. That's why Dean is running. And I'm pumped to make that case to the folks, not just here in New Hampshire, but in South Carolina and Michigan in the days ahead.
Andrew Yang, we always appreciate your time. It'll be fascinating to watch this play out. 30%, according to SC Cup, and I think you're co-opting that threshold, so I'm going to attribute it to you as well. Andrew Yang, appreciate your time, sir. Thank you.